when I saw the title of Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore, I inwardly cringed because, well, as we know with Pooh and other Indian characters, The Simpsons doesn't exactly have the best track record of being not even PC, but just respectable. So I was kind of nervous for this episode, but I have to say it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it's The Simpsons doing a lot of Indian characters, and there are a lot of stereotypes in this. But what I will say is that I was quite surprised to see somebody else on the cast list credited as various Indian women. The various Indian women are voiced by Meher Tatna, and that's something that I thought was worth mentioning. That is a step in the right direction. We kind of know what happened with Apu over the years. Well, maybe you don't. I won't mention it just in case, but it's worth pointing out that Hank Azaria still does voice various Indian men as credited on IMDb. So it's not completely in the right direction, but, baby steps. And Mr. Burns has decided to outsource the workforce of the power plant, so he moves the plant to India. But he is legally required to keep one existing salaried union worker on the books, and by chance, that's Homer. And Homer goes to India, and, well, it's interesting. I don't want to say too much about what happens, but he brings some good by, well, I believe Lisa mentioned it as a sense of entitlement, but in a good way. He brings some positive information to the new workforce. But yeah, generally he takes advantage. He is worshipped for the wrong reasons. Well, actually, potentially for the right reasons, but it comes across as being really awkward, and it isn't the most comfortable to watch. But it's also self-aware. It kind of does it in a way where the episode knows it's being awkward and is kind of poking fun at itself and poking fun at Homer for thinking certain things and not being aware of certain cultural things. So kind of by making fun of Homer for that, it's making fun of, I guess, stereotypes and people who think certain things or who don't understand things properly about other cultures. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. The point is, it wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought, but it's still not perfect. We also have a narrative with Paddy and Selma. They meet Richard Dean Anderson, who plays MacGyver, and he's there for a different convention, and I loved the scenes at the other convention. I wish we got more of that convention, but that's my personal preference. I actually feel like it was perfectly paced for the episode. And they kidnap MacGyver, Richard Dean Anderson. But then things kind of turn on its head, and I won't say any more about that. But I will say it was a bit of a weird narrative. It was a random, and I feel like it's probably one of those things they'll forget about. By which I mean they'll probably mention MacGyver again in future episodes with no mention of ever having met Richard Dean Anderson. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's one of those things that's The Simpsons often has narratives that basically just don't happen, which I think it might be one. Having said that, it'll be the same with the power plant as well. I'm sure we'll never have mention of this again. So, I don't know, I didn't love the episode. I really didn't. It wasn't really anything that spoke to me apart from that one convention that comic book guy was chairing. But it wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as I thought, but I honestly didn't think it was that interesting. There are some good messages about, positive working environments and things that workers should be entitled to, but beyond that, I don't know. It's not an episode I would choose to watch. I wouldn't skip it if I was, binge watching season 17. I would, just keep watching it. I wouldn't skip it, but yeah, I definitely would never choose to watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore. It's definitely not my favourite.